Hello, everybody. It's that time of the week again. It's Tony the Mole Adams midweek scoops. And thanks again for supporting our video last week, supporting our channel. Tell your friends. Costs nothing to just hit that subscribe button, and it helps us a lot. So please consider doing that. And here he is, the man himself, Tony the Mole Adams. Tony, how are you? What's going on?
Yeah, doing well, Steve. Still on a bit of a high after that Pacific Championships final, Australia-Tonga. The atmosphere was sensational. Our big fear was that the Aussies would run away with it, but the Tongans, to their credit, they just kept coming back and back, and they made it a real thrilling game, and their fans, so much pomp and colour and singing, and it was something fairly unique in Australia, I'd say. I don't think we've seen that sort of atmosphere for a very long time, if at all.
Yeah, International Rugby League is really on the up at the moment, isn't it? The women's game's going great. The crowds for the England Samoa series were up on last year. I know there was only two tests instead of three last year against Tonga, but crowds and ratings were up, and I think there's plenty there for the NRL to build on, and they seem to be taking an interest in it now, which is awesome. Tom Flegler. Now, this wasn't in your midweek scoops column, and by the way, Tony's columns are there's a link to them in the show description, and also in the community tab on this channel. We post Tony's columns, and he's become a social media whiz with the memes, so post them up there as well. But Tony, Tom Flegler, career is in a bit of jeopardy, but maybe he's on the comeback trail. The Dolphins forward.
Yeah, he had this radical nerve surgery to his shoulder. And there were fears that he wouldn't play again. There's still no guarantees. No, nerve damage is very delicate. You look at poor Simon Dwyer, who had a very promising career at the Tigers, and he's still on staff now, but he can't lift his arm, basically. He's permanently in a sling after suffering nerve damage to the shoulder. And so there've been alarm bells with poor Tom Flegler. He's only played 4 games since moving to the Dolphins. Let's not forget he's an Origin and Test player, but he had the surgery a couple of months ago. The doctors are cautiously saying maybe mid-season. So that's, I guess, a little bit of good news for the Dolphins and for Tom Flegler.
Now we will move on to your column, the midweek scoops, and your first item there is about Brandon Smith, and I don't know, I don't know if people drew a connection to Terrell May and Brandon Smith as far as Terrell May being on the way out and not wanted at Bondi Junction, but you're saying that there is a little bit of a connection there. It's a symptom of the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. I think the Roosters were in a fairly happy place going into the finals. Then they got beat by both grand finalists by around 30 points. And I think that gave them a bit of a reality check. And it's going to be a long summer for the Roosters. And I think everyone was shocked when Terrell May was basically given his marching orders. I certainly was. I thought he was probably the most effective bench player in the NRL. When he came on, he changed games. But the Brandon Smith situation's interesting in that I got told a few months ago that the Roosters were very keen on turning his life around, making him a real success story, a la Jake Friend, who a couple of decades ago was on the outer at the Roosters. He was having all sorts of problems off the field with alcohol, and he became a club legend because they stuck by him. They sent him bush for a while. They gave him a second chance, and that was the plan with Brandon Smith. But now they're basically saying he's free to look around. So I think they're taking a very tough stance, the Roosters, because they need to, because things didn't go well at all in the final series, and they realised just how far behind Melbourne and Penrith they are, and they're not the sort of club who will settle for mediocrity. So interesting times at the Roosters, let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's a shame he never got to play at a club where John Chalk was a chairman, because we could have used that chalk and cheese line. But anyway, next item is about Clint Gutherson. Clint Gutherson. Now we all know what Clint Gutherson's doing. He's left Parramatta. He's going to the Dragons. But there was another club that almost got him. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think that this he'll probably deny it, but I would say this was his first preference, and it was going to Manly. And the interesting thing there, of course, is that he's a Manly boy, born in Mona Vale, just round the corner from me. He started his career there, but in 3 years he only had 5 games, and a lot of that was due to injury. But then he went to Parra and played over 200 games in over a decade, became a club legend. Now he's well and truly the great white hope for the Dragons, but it could easily been that he ended up at Manly. The problem was Manly, their top 30 is pretty settled. They've got Tommy Turbo at fullback. They've got Jake Turbo at lock, which is the other position that Gutherson's been mentioned as a possibility for. And so it didn't happen, but maybe it could have.
Sean Lane, off contract at Parramatta at the end of 2025. What's he up to?
Yeah, and apparently getting very close to re-signing. And I thought he was in a pretty ordinary Parramatta side this year. I thought he was a shining light, Sean Lane. Those round the corner passes of his, he's so big, tall, strong, lanky. He can really get the ball around through the line and set up plenty of tries. So looks like he'll re-sign for another 2-3 years, which is good news for Parra. And they probably a club in need of some good news at the moment.
And Viliami Fafita, you always throw in a name we haven't heard. Viliami Fafita. Who is Viliami Fafita?
Well, he's the younger brother of Jojo, so at least it's a well-known name in rugby league. And Jojo, of course, plays for the Titans as well. And he's a young kid on the rise at the Titans. He's a front rower, and looks like he's going to re-sign for 2 or 3 years. He's in their juniors and very promising player by all accounts.
Always a pleasure, Tony. Enjoy your weekend without any footy this weekend. First one in a while, I'm sure. And we'll be speaking again next week.
Yeah, it's the countdown to Vegas, Steve.
Can't wait. Can't wait.